have a mustache now. So you want to do voice impressions, but you also have no idea where to start. Well, guess what? I used to be in that same boat years ago. And I'm here to tell you that voice impressions is a skill that you can hone and not a talent that you have to be born with or something. So I'll tell you what I wish I knew back down and the general framework I used to learn voices that can hopefully help you too, so you can go out and voice troll on Call of Duty, Valorant, Overwatch, I don't know, impress your friends. Anything, man. Before we start, there's one piece of advice that I'm going to give you that's probably one of the most important things you'll have to hear if you want to start learning voice impressions. You have to accept that any voice impression you do will never be 100% accurate. Just like your fingerprints, everyone's voice is different and it's impossible to recreate someone else's voice or replicate someone else's voice one-to-one exactly. Now, don't get me wrong, you can get pretty close, but it's never 100%. So get the idea of perfectionism or trying to get the perfect impression out of your mind because it just won't happen. Get that out of your head. Okay, now that we covered that important piece of information, I have another important piece of information that you must know before you start getting into this video and this process and learning your first voice impression. This is crucial. This is going to help make you learn impressions easier, but it's also going to require some self-analysis on your part, okay? When you're deciding your first character that you want to impersonate or work towards impersonating, pick one that is already close to your natural voice and one that you enjoy doing. And there's a reason for this. Okay, so our goal is to upgrade or improve the skill of being able to change different parts of your voice to emulate someone else's, right? Well, the best way for you to start building up that skill is if you start from the basics, start small. Do something close to your voice. And the aspect of enjoying your character is also very important because if you're trying to practice and get better at the voice impression and you don't actually care about the character or even enjoy doing the voice, then what's the point? You got into this to have fun anyway, so make sure you're having fun learning it, okay? It's all about the process. There's a lot of process to this, so you want to make sure it's as enjoyable as possible. The only way you can be successful in this in the long term is if you enjoy the process. All right, so now that you know all of that, I hope that you picked an appropriate character for you to learn your first voice impression with. So now let's jump into that framework I kept yapping about but never told you, because I'm going to tell you now, okay? Also, I'll actually walk through this process with you using Hanzo from Overwatch. Now, the first step of this framework is called preparation. Pick one voice line that you think accurately represents the character you're trying to do and only practice that line, at least only for the start. And that's because focusing on one specific line that you can keep hammering down and practicing will be way more efficient at trying to get down the voice than trying to try different voice lines. You know what I'm trying to say? So for me and for Hanzo, I'm gonna pick this voice line in the cinematic trailer of one of his Overwatch cinematic trailers. I already said that word, but this one.
You are not the first assassin sent to kill me, and you will not be the last.
Also, it's extremely helpful if you have a recording or some way to play back the original recording so you can keep hearing it over and over again. That's gonna be super helpful. Now, the next step to this framework is to just do it. Literally go for it and see how close you can get already without having to try anything else. You'd actually be surprised about the amount of people who get in their head and won't even let them try it first, and then they have no idea how close they already are to the voice. Let go of trying to make the voice perfect because it won't be. To be honest, it's probably gonna suck. Just go for it. Because who knows, you could already be incredibly close to the voice and you only have to tweak a couple of things. Maybe you already got the voice very, very accurately, or you could even be incredibly far, which is also okay because then you know exactly where you need to grow in order to improve to get the voice to be where you want it to be. So for that Hanzo line, if I just go for it, let's see how close I can get without trying to change too much of my voice.
You are not the first assassin sent to kill me, and you will not be the last.
As you can see, the voice is not very spot on, but just going for it, I've realized that I'm kind of closer to it than I initially thought I was. All right, so now you got an estimated ballpark of how close you are to this voice. So the next thing I usually do is to try to match the pitch and the placement of where the voice is. So the pitch, as you probably know, is how high or how low the voice is. So the first thing I would do is try to match that to that general area. So for me, for Hanzo, his voice is more on the deeper side. So if I was gonna say that line again, I would go,
you are not the first assassin sent to kill me, and you will not be the last.
Right? Getting closer, getting closer. Now, placement. This is a trickier topic to explain and especially to get the hang of. Essentially, every single voice has a spot where it sounds like it's the most concentrated. This can be the head voice up here, it could be the nasally up here, it could be the front of the mouth, it can be the back of the mouth, it can be the chest, it can be the diaphragm. That's what it's called, not just the stomach. I'm just saying words at this point. Now, explaining each of these and how they work and how to get to them is a topic for a whole nother video that frankly I'm not entirely qualified to talk about, because I would just be spewing nonsense out of my ass, and I don't think you guys want anything coming out of my ass. So the head, the nose, the front of the mouth, the back of the mouth, the chest, the diaphragm. I would say those are like the main areas where I tend to find the voices scattered around. So try to identify where that is. So as you notice, as I ran through the different parts of the voice, you can tell that each part of where you place the voice gives the voice a different texture and a different quality. Like back of the throat sounds much more rough and stuff like that.
If you go nasally, you kind of sound more nerdy, right?
So as you're practicing, try to find out where the placement is, because that placement could literally be the key to getting the impression, because you might just need to find the proper spot for it. So for Hanzo, if I'm trying to do the voice and I'm trying to find out which part of it does it sound more accurately, it seems that it kind of tends to fall in the back of the throat. So if I say that voice line again, "You are not the first assassin sent to kill me, and you will not be the last." Back of the throat sounds pretty good, because that seems the most accurate to my ears. Now, the final step to this framework, which is also the most important things. Everything I said was important, but this is the most important thing by far, is called practice and refine. Now, before you leave and say, "Oh my God, you're just saying practice, what the hell?" Listen, okay, hear me out. Now, I wish in this video that I can just tell you the exact steps you need to do to master your Itadori Jujutsu Kaisen impression, but I can't. Okay, I don't know how your voice sounds. I don't know what steps you need to be, but guess what? There's a way you can find out, and that's by practicing. The more you practice and the more you keep comparing back to the original voice clip that you have on playback or recorded, like I said in the first step, you'll find more stuff that you can do to change the voice, alter small things to sound even more accurate. There have been countless impressions that I literally could not do for a good month, until I kept practicing it on my own just for fun, until I got to a point where, hey, this sounds not bad, and the people I show it to think it's pretty accurate. When I make videos online with it, people say like, "Oh, that's pretty accurate." Practice is such a huge part, and I can't emphasize that enough. And if that's not something you're okay with doing, that's okay, I guess. It's just part of what you have to do. If you're somehow naturally gifted and you don't have to do that, that's pretty cool, and I want to meet you. But most of us can't do it. I can't do that. Oh my God, can you hear my chains clacking back and forth? Okay, anyways, I certainly can't do that, so I need to practice. And I'm having fun doing it. I'm enjoying the process, so it's never really like I gotta practice the impression to get to it. It's kind of like, oh, if I keep doing it, I'll eventually get there somewhere, but it's fun. It's fun. I'm just having fun. Right? But yeah, jumping back to the refine aspect, like I said before, the more you practice, the more you'll find little things to improve. Maybe like an accent, or maybe like the specific way they talk. For example, listening to Hanzo speak, I can tell the way he talks, he kind of goes up and down in the back of his throat. He varies it up and down. And also he has a Japanese accent, so I have to try to replicate that as best as I can to get as close as possible. So if I were to do that voice line again, knowing all those things, this is how it sounds. "You are not the first assassin sent to kill me, and you will not be the last." And that sounds pretty close. Like, it's not 100% accurate. Like I said, it's not possible, but I'm satisfied where it is. When I show other people, or if I do trolling with it, people get that it's Hanzo and hear Hanzo. So that's all I need. That's all I need. I'm at peace, guys. I'm in nirvana. That's all I needed. And that's all you need too. Just have fun. At the end of the day, guys, have fun. I'm trailing off. What even is this video, bro? Oh my God. Now look, if this is your very first time learning any impression, I'm gonna look into your future for a second, okay? Come here. Your impression is gonna suck ass. But guess what? That's okay, because it's supposed to be like that. Your first is never gonna be good. What a wise man once told me is that if you wanna be good at something, first you gotta be ass at it. I don't think that's how the quote goes, but that's how Harry Gill says it. But trust me, you will get better at it. The more you practice, the more you go through this framework and this process of learning impressions, you'll get better at varying different things in your voice. You'll be able to develop that skill to match almost any impression you want to do. And in case you're interested in seeing more of this framework in action and seeing the results of it, check out my Valorant impression video I literally just did.